The last video that I made about this monitor had you guys asking some very great questions, and a lot of you shared your own experiences with it too. But I also had a few of you asking me why I didn't comment on things like VRR Flicker, gray uniformity and banding, burn-in, and a few other things too. If you're new to the channel, first of all, welcome. I'm very glad that you're here with us. And second, this channel is a tech channel, yes, but it's also got a lifestyle tech angle to it where I actually use the products for a while, and I'll even give my feedback and share my experiences with a particular product and what it's been like to live with it for a little while. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know that I don't shy away from telling it how it is with products. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to talk about things that I don't personally experience or things that I don't even notice just for the sake of it. Like take VRR Flicker for example. This is my first OLED and I legitimately didn't experience it at all while gaming on the PS5 or even while gaming on the PC for the first month. Now this could be due to my use case and how VRR Flicker actually triggers, and I probably didn't play a game or have it set to a particular setting that could have triggered this issue. And I'm talking for that whole first month, so I wasn't going to cover something that I didn't experience. But does the monitor actually have that issue? Well, according to other reviewers and some feedback from you guys, yes. But again, I'm not going to report on or make up things when I don't experience it. However, now, 4 months in, I will say that I have seen the screen flicker, but funnily enough, it hasn't happened while playing demanding games. The first time that I experienced it was when I was actually editing a video, and I had DaVinci open in the background, and I pulled up the Stream Deck app to basically set up some new commands. And as I started to move around the window, I noticed something. So I moved it around a little bit faster and I saw a flicker occur. I put on the OSD frame counter to check, and I did find that occasionally it's dropped to 49 frames when this happens. I also noticed a flicker that occasionally happened when I was playing Stardew Valley, especially when I'm in my house and there's the black borders around the outside of the house. You can see it happen sometimes when you're moving around. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of shooter games. I don't play them much other than Marvel Rivals, but for the purpose of this video, I downloaded COD and I put it to the test, and honestly, I didn't notice anything. Now, VRR flicker happens when there's a change in brightness, especially around darker scenes, but yeah, look, that's what I have with 4 months in. The novelty of using this monitor, or OLEDs in general, has started to wear off a little bit after 4 months. Don't get me wrong, it's still an amazing monitor, and I do still have those holy shit moments anytime that I see a truly blackened out section of the screen which has been contrasted against like a colorful image. But just like getting a new car or a new phone, eventually you do start to get used to it and it becomes a little bit less wow. In saying that, the quality of the display hasn't degraded, the brightness levels haven't diminished, and the color quality has been stellar as. Oh, and actually another thing that happened recently, I got my hands on the Lofree Flow 2, which they were kind enough to send out. And this thing is a minimalist's dream. The keyboard has a few variants, but the one that I've got is the 75% grey with Kale Pulse Cloud switches. And this thing sounds marbly creamy. And while it doesn't have any flashy RGB lighting, it's got a strong white LED backlight that is clearly visible through every keycap. The body itself is also unique. It's been machined from a solid piece of aluminium, and every edge on it is CNC machined and finely textured. So this thing basically feels super premium. And one of the things about it that I truly like is the touch bar that's on the side, because this replaces a knob or buttons for volume and brightness control. And all you need to do is just swipe up or down on the capacitive strip and it controls these features really well. I know that it sounds gimmicky, but when you actually use it, you'll see how good it actually is. You've got tri-mode connectivity with Bluetooth, 2.4 GHz wireless dongle, or you can use a USB-C cable. I've been using it mainly with my PC, but it works perfectly with Mac. And it also kind of looks the part for an all-Mac setup too, in my opinion. It's got 5 layers of dampening materials inside, which you wouldn't expect from something that's this slim, so it sounds amazing. In fact, here, have a listen. And if you guys want to check it out, I'll have it linked below. But yeah, anyway, continuing on, let's take a look at burn-in now. At 1 month of use, I didn't have any issues whatsoever. But now, after a solid 700 plus hours of on-screen time between gaming and working, mind you, I've had a lot of still frames on screen like DaVinci Resolve's user interface in particular, and as of late, Stardew Valley's user interface. There's also my background that gets left on for long periods of time, like I'm talking even hours at a time when filming, and a whole lot more obviously. But when checking for burn-in now, using clips from YouTube, there's been no noticeable burn-in on the screen. When testing with red, green, blue, cyan, yellow, magenta, 50 shades of grey, there's nothing so far. But in saying that, like I said in my 1 month video, there are a few ways that LG have tried to mitigate the issue with pixel shift and pixel cleaning features and technologies, and so far, it looks like it's working out well for me. Now, there's two things that you guys kept asking me about after the 1 month review, so I specifically had to research these and test for them because, again, first time OLED user. The first being gray uniformity and banding. With day-to-day use until that 1 month point, I didn't even notice anything. Hell, I still don't notice anything. But anyway, look. Yes, this monitor does have it. When testing, I turned off peak brightness and I set the screen brightness to 50 out of 100. It wasn't really noticeable at grayscale 5% or 50%. You had to really look for it to see it. But when it got to 85%, you could see it more. When I set my brightness back up to 100 and peak brightness to low or high, it becomes less noticeable. At any setting or percentage, it wasn't like seeing lines everywhere. I just noticed a few and they were spread wide apart. But apparently this is highly panel specific. And in my research, I saw plenty of photos and videos on Reddit of others with, unfortunately, much worse banding with other brand monitors. The second thing was Chrominance Overshoot, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And look, full honesty, I did not, and I still have not noticed this at all with anything that I've used the monitor for. Nevertheless, that could be use case, so I tested this using clips again from YouTube, and specifically with a Resident Evil 4 clip. I tested this exact same clip with the OLED, my portable IPS, and my MacBook, and I can't see anything standing out to me. And as you can see through this recording, there's nothing, unless my eyes are deceiving me, but you guys can have a look and let me know if you do see something below. Anyways, overall, the monitor itself with everyday use has actually been exceptional even with 4 months in. Like I said, the picture quality of the display has been stellar. There's no burn-in, there's no dead pixels, and there's no disturbance of the viewing experience as a whole. Even viewing angles are still spot on too. Look, I haven't had the chance to sit down and properly watch any decent movies or TV shows lately as I've been working a lot, but watching some YouTube videos, the display itself, watching content from some of my favorite creators, it's still amazing. Like the brightness levels, the popping of the colors. A lot of the creators I watch have cinematic production and it all looks absolutely incredible. Lately, a lot of my workflow is split between PC and Mac, but all of my long form editing has practically moved to the PC with this monitor, as the experience is better than any other display that I have in my setup. Eye strain for me has almost completely disappeared as well with this monitor, which is good to see because that was a big issue for me at first. But I guess I've now adjusted. I say almost because if I sit here from 9 AM to midnight working and gaming for a whole day, then yes, I will feel it. But that happens to me with any display type. Look, some of the bigger issues are still there though, like the PS5 no signal issue. Oh, and a quick note, I've actually been moving my PS5 back and forth between the monitor and my TV for testing reasons for both, as they are both up for their longer term feedback, and also because of the signal issue. But as I was saying at first, I thought that it was limited to just having VRR enabled on the console, so I switched it off because I'm not a massive fan of shooter games anyway, so for me, it wasn't going to really make that much of a difference, as a lot of the games that I play are story-based, but even with that turned off, it still has the issue. Another community member commented with some troubleshooting tips that they got directly from LG, and it worked for a day, but then they had the same issue again. And I really hope that LG can push a software update to fix this. To add to it, the navigation joystick is becoming less responsive when the monitor's in standby mode. It takes a few times of actually pressing it to get it to register and activate the on-screen display. The navigation works fine, but the initial activation of the OSD can take a few times to register and wake up or turn on the display and pop up the OSD. Now this can be annoying, especially if you're trying to switch between inputs or if you need to restart it a few times to get the PS5 signal to come through. In saying that though, and again overall after 4 months, I'm extremely happy with this monitor, and I guess a lot of that does come down to use case and the fact that I'm not a pixel counter, I guess. Yes, it has some extremely annoying quirks, a lot of which you can see in my 1 month review, but overall, I'm happy with my purchase, and I'm going to stick to my original thoughts that I think that it is still very well worth it. And that's pretty much it, guys. Now, as always, if you've got any questions, drop them all in the comments below and I'll do my best to help answer them. Or even if you want to compare something or test something against your own monitor, let me know and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next week.